Hey everybody! In this video, we're going to cover the major changes that the February 2022 update brings to CloudRadial. This update completely changes how user security works in the platform thanks to role-based access and logging. Plus, it adds a highly requested Mac agent as well as some great new UI improvements that modernize the user experience to improve both usability and navigation. And the dark theme looks pretty sexy now. So let's start with the security overhaul of user roles. I'm going to go head over to an existing tenant as you've seen it up until today. The new role-based access system fundamentally changes and streamlines how user permissions are handled. Up until this update, you could make a person in the portal a user, an admin, or a limited access admin. And to do that, you had to click on them and edit them, and then you got this dialog over here on the right. Selecting one of these three roles selected their user role. By default, users only had view-only access to the first 4 tabs of CloudRadial. Admins, on the other hand, had access to the full scope of CloudRadial's features. And limited access admins had to have their specific viewing and editing permissions manually created on a per-user basis with a combination of this setting and the Access tab. In the new version, that whole process has been dramatically streamlined. People can be assigned to new roles that have a lot more customization and scalability than ever before. Let's see how to create these new roles. We're going to start by heading to the new tab in the portal, located under the Partner dropdown and the Security tab. Here, you'll notice a new area with 3 tabs: Roles, Sessions, and Audit Trail. The first tab, Roles, is where you'll be able to create the various roles that you can assign to people in the portal. You'll find yourself with 4 system default roles and 6 additional customizable slots for roles you create. Note that the starter and professional plans will be capped at 10 user roles total, with some exceptions that we'll explain in a bit. Enterprise level customers, however, do not have a user role cap. The system default roles include owner, company reporting, user, and impersonation. These 4 roles roughly map to the same roles that we've been using to manage most system users. You can always get more details on what they are and how they work by clicking on them and in the articles listed below. But don't forget, you can always hover over columns to get more information that way too. As for creating a new role, well, that's pretty easy. You can use the Add button at the top right to bring up the role editor. Here, you'll find all the necessary fields to custom craft your roles to fit your needs. As you can see, you have quite a bit of power in these roles. Granular control over every single aspect of CloudRadial, from what tickets they can see to what specific access they have from all over the various features in CloudRadial. You can see a lot more of that under our module permissions, which are greatly expanded from what we used to have in the previous version. Another major difference that this update brings is that now, partners can also create various levels of partner access. At the bottom of the module permission, you'll see the options to control which partner level options your employees have too. This is incredibly useful for creating internal roles that need access to certain partner functions, but not all of them. If you're an existing CloudRadial customer that has previously used the limited admin access role, you'll find that all the custom roles you've made have been converted over automatically. That's also why the account I'm on right now has a bunch of roles. You'll be able to edit these as you like, but you won't be able to add any more until you either go below 10 roles or upgrade to the enterprise version of CloudRadial. If you are inclined to create more roles, know that you can always save a copy of any role by using the Save As button at the top right. There's one last major update related to roles, and that's how they work with type mappings. First, let's head over to the type mappings area. They're located under the Partner dropdown and then Settings at the very bottom. Then head over to Type Mappings on the right-hand side under Configuration. Type mappings exist to make user role delegation easier by using your existing infrastructure from your PSA users to delegate roles in CloudRadial. However, in the last version of CloudRadial, you couldn't choose to delegate the type mapped users with custom roles. That's no longer the case. Creating a new type mapping rule will show you that you can now map your PSA user types over to any custom role you like. If you've already had type mappings in place, you'll find that their mappings have automatically been converted to one of the existing user roles. So that's roles in a nutshell. But what about the other security functions? We've added sessions, which is right next to roles. Sessions are sets of data that detail specific session activity that is conducted by either individual users or the job server. At a glance, this area can give you an idea of the different activities that happen down to the user, company, and exact time. If you're looking for a more detailed version of activity logging, look no further than the last tab of the bunch. That's the Audit Trail. The Audit Trail is used to get detailed information on changes that have occurred in the portal within a certain window of time. Depending on the version of CloudRadial you have, whether it's Starter, Professional, or Enterprise, you may have different lengths of time on your data retention. Audit logging can get really technical because it captures nearly everything that goes on within CloudRadial. Selecting a specific event, such as this one over here, will shed more light on the exact actions that have happened. Generally speaking, selecting an event will show you the user that initiated the change, the email of that user, the company that the user belongs to, the changes that that user made, and the option to revert the changes made by that user. Audit trails are used primarily for compliance functions and for data recovery. Be sure to experiment with audit trails to shed light on your CloudRadial usage as a whole. And by the way, audit trails don't just live here either. Throughout the portal, you'll notice that audit trails are present in various areas too. Let's look at a content package under Partner Content, and you'll see what I mean. I'll go ahead and click on this first one, the About Us articles. See the audit icon at the top? Rather than looking for the history of that item in the audit trail list we just saw, this can point you to a specific audit history in a much quicker fashion. And you can revert changes on this just like we saw in the other area too. And now for something completely different, the Mac agent. Since CloudRadial's beginning, we've had a Windows data gathering agent that has powered our policies and infrastructure data. Now you can get the same with a Mac version. But at the time of filming this guide, note that this Mac agent is still in preview mode. Be sure to test it out for yourself to get a better feel for it before any mass deployment. To deploy the Mac version, simply head over to the Partner dropdown on the left-hand side and then select your client list. From here, you're going to navigate to Agents at the very top. You'll notice that there's a brand new column for the Mac install script. Installing the Mac will populate the infrastructure area just like the Windows agent does. And, just like the Windows agent, selecting a specific Mac device will bring up information about it. Even the compliance policies can be set up in such a way that you can make Mac-specific policies using the native agent. The final major change is the user interface. CloudRadial has undergone major work to make the UI more sleek, refined, and user-friendly. On the home page, for example, you'll notice that the icons are far more prominent in their own sections. Even the banners and notifications have been modified to be more in theme while still staying more prominent. Be sure to check out other areas, like the service catalog, policies, and the planner to see how they've evolved from the latest version of the platform. And like I mentioned earlier, don't be afraid to experiment with different themes. That concludes our tour for this month's changes. Now get out there and try it for yourself.